Today is March 3rd, 2024. I'm Mariana Sauls. I am interviewing Barbara Slawinski. We are in Chesterbrook, Pennsylvania, United States.
Okay. And we're rolling.
Please, what is your name?
Barbara Slawinski.
Can you spell that?
Slawinski. Barbara, Barbara.
What is your date of birth?
December 2nd, 1930.
And where were you born?
I am born in Częstochowa, Poland.
Can you spell Częstochowa?
Yes. Czestowa.
What are the names of your parents? What are the names of your parents?
My parents, Berek Leib Horowicz and Wojra Horowicz from home Gold, daughter on Shlomo Gold.
Are you able to spell the names?
The names Berek Horowicz, Horoczecz, Horowicz.
And your mother?
Dwojra, Dwohra, Gold, Gold.
What are their dates of birth? Their dates of birth?
Dates of birth for my mama, 1998, and my father, no, 90s, 1898 and 1894, my father.
Did you have siblings?
Siblings, yes. I have 4 siblings. Oldest sister, Miriam, and she was born in June 1917. Esther, she was born in November 11, 1918. And Moshe Horowicz, he was born June 22nd, 1922. And Frema was born February, I don't know exactly, 1927.
What was your home like?
My home?
What do you remember about your home?
My home was a wonderful home. We have a beautiful home. I have beautiful childhood. I was the youngest one, and they spoiled me. I have a lot of dolls and a lot of toys, and I have a nanny which was going with me to the park, and I have nice dresses, nice shoes. I have beautiful childhood. And I went also, when I was about 4, I went to a school, Wróblówka, Polish, is kindergarten, and I have a very nice lady, teacher, Mrs. Weinstein. And then after this, I went, when I was 6, I went to 1st grade to Jewish public school. And I was in the school, I like to learn. And the school I was till break out the war. War break up September 1st. And my childhood was broken.
What was the name of your nanny? Do you remember?
Nanny? Marysia. And I love her. She was so good to me. She was with me till I was, I think, 8. Also, she's going with me to school, picking me up from the school, bringing me to park to play with another kids. She was very good to me.
And what did your father do?
My father has a factory, metal factory in Częstochowa, ulica Przemysłowa 4, and he has workers and he makes the money for our living.
And your mama?
Mama was home, taking care of the home. She has helpers. She has a lady which make the wash, and another lady which was helping in the kitchen.
What type of observance, Jewish observance, was in your home? What type of Jewish observance was in your home?
I don't understand.
Did you come from a religious home?
Yeah. Yeah. My father was religious. Going to synagogue every morning before going to the factory about 6 o'clock in the morning, and every Shabbos, Friday evening. Mama went with my older sister to synagogue Fridays, and just Mama with my father Saturdays. But it was a kosher home, and Mama make a lot of charities.
What kind of charities? What did we?
If you want to ask the question again.
I just blanked on.
I'm rolling.
She give money for Shabbos for poor people for eating, and also we have a very big kitchen, and there was a big table. Mama always before bake a lot halas, and put halas on the table, put fish on the table, and the poor Jews are coming and eat there a little bit and taking home. Also strudel, some cookies for, yeah. And this was so, always so. But the tables also, during the week, some poor people coming, and Mama called them, this is a cake eat, a zwiebel-eek, then she prepared a lot of zwiebel with bread. And yeah, it was so.
What did she prepare?
Bread and onion, because she called him. This is onion eat. This I remember. So.
Did you have a favorite food?
My favorite food? I love cholent. I was always waiting for Shabbos cholent. I love cholent and the kishke inside.
Can you explain what cholent is?
What is explained? Cholent potatoes with meat, with grapes, and with kishke. And Mama also put boiled eggs in the cholent. It's typical Jewish food, because you bring the cholent to the baker Friday afternoon, and then in noontime Shabbos, the lady which helped Mama went and picked up the cholent, and this was the hot food.
What were your siblings like? What were your siblings like? Your brothers and sisters? What were your brothers and sisters like?
What they like?
What were they like?
Yeah, they like, my brother loved cake. Strudel, any cake, any sweets, and always he get it Shabbos morning with cacao. My sisters, the oldest one doesn't like the jelly from gefilte fish. She liked the fish, but no jelly, because she said it's zittert, I don't like it. And the another sister, she likes everything. And the Frema was very bad eater, very bad eater. She likes herring, this kind. But she was sick. She has anemia, and she was very bad eater.
What kinds of games did you play? What kinds of games did you play?
Game, a lot of games with my friends. I have a very good Doris, a very good friend from my neighbors, and we play house, doctor, story, and also we go outside and we play with Kastanien, and in the park also we play with Kastanien, or all kind, hiding, running.
Were your friends Jewish?
Yes, yeah, because this house which we live in was mostly Jews living, Piłsudskiego 17. And this house has 3 buildings with between was a square. And in the 3rd building were our living also no Jewish people. But 1st and 2nd building just Jewish people. Our street was at the border of the Jewish neighborhood, was across the main train station Częstochowa, and Jews. I have just Jewish friends. I have one Polish friend, Rysio, but then during the war, his grandmother was terrible to me.
What does that mean? What did she do?
First was so when the war began, they took our apartment, and she came with police, and we must move from the apartment. That was first thing. Second, when I went from ghetto to buy some food, then she made me on my face, hit me, and take the bread which I bought, and said, "It's not for Jews." She don't like also before the war when he was playing with me. She called him home always. But he was a nice boy. And we play nice.
Who were your parents' friends?
My parents' friends, we have a lot, big family in Częstochowa. Then mostly my family, my uncles, my aunts, my second aunts, a lot. Because Gold family was a very old family in Częstochowa from 1760 beginning. And these are the whole generation after was making kosher wine for Shabbat. The same my grandfather Shlomo. But friends, my dad has a lot of friends, not Jewish friends, which are taking the product from him, what he produced, because he was producing parts for bikes for Centra Poznań, was a big factory, Centra, and also pieces for factory Norblin by Warsaw, and deliver them, and they are coming to our house for business. Mama always make a big dinner for them, and I get also a doll, always.
When did you notice things were changing? When did you start noticing things were changing? When did you start noticing that things around you were changing?
From begin, from first day on the war, because war bring up on the 1st December, and Częstochowa is very close to Herby, duże, and this was about 8 kilometers the border. Then the German come already on the first. They move 5 o'clock in the morning, and my dad was in the Stiebel, was break out the war. He came home and told us that the German put fire in a gun factory on the beginning on the Częstochowa town, and German this day the first they have been already. They make first execution of 1,000 Jews on the 3rd September. They kill. They shot them. They call them all Jews to come on the square by big church, the Cathedralna Street, and it was this first fleecing bread. And we live not far from there. And on the 3rd September, we must give up our apartment to Mrs. Trawiska, because she took it. And we live 3 weeks by my uncle in Rynek 1 till they move. They take also our furniture, crystals, everything. And then in the third house, we get the apartment that they have. It was much, much smaller, primitive. Yeah. And from beginning the war, I feel was terrible.
What were you thinking? What in your mind?
In my mind, what I remember, just I was afraid of the German, whole time afraid, very afraid, and try to be close to Mama. I was 9 years old. What can 9-year-old just afraid, scary.
What did you take with you to the other apartment?
In the other apartment, Mama organized our life. And it was so then in the other apartment, I have no my bed. I sleep with my parents whole time. And my siblings has a room also. And was a little kitchen. And we have no more help. Mama must do everything. And it was very hard time. And then they make the ghetto, 1940, they make the ghetto in Częstochowa, about, I think, February, March, or April, so. Then we get less food. And I'm going from the ghetto outside because my Polish look was a good look. And I can try to buy something to help Mama.
What does it mean you had a Polish look?
Jewish look is I have light eyes, I have light skin and light hair, and also I was not afraid later to going out. I was feeling brave when I came back with few potatoes or with some bread, with some salt and this. And most important was that you go without, that you show that are not afraid. Then you can go, because ghetto has outside house brama, to going outside, and was policemen. But when you go, that you don't show that you are afraid, they don't stop you. And then outside I can buy something, and again going back straight, that nobody looks, not afraid, no show. You can no show them that you are afraid.
Where did you get money to buy?
Because we still have money, and also so that my father's co-worker, he was more. He has a workshop where he did something for my father. He took because they closed the factory, he took all machines outside to build out his place, and he was bringing money and giving father almost whole time a little money. He was very nice, Mr. Wolf, very nice person. He also give when was the young boys must go to work, then he give work to my brother also outside the ghetto, and he saved, he help us. Also, the friends from my father from Warsaw factory came and bring us money. That we have no too much. Mama also was selling her diamonds and her jewelry, and she managed. We have been no hungry. She tried to manage. I was not hungry. Maybe the older ones was hungry, but she tried to feed me.
Where
Okay, and I'm rolling.
where was the ghetto located?
Where was located? End of first aleja Piłsudskiego. Our house was part in ghetto. The first house was not in ghetto. The second and third house was in ghetto. And we stay in this house till end. We didn't move, because they make a wall between the houses, and the first house was outside ghetto, and then they opened to go out from these houses to Przemysłowa 4. Another street, no Piłsudskiego. Piłsudskiego was Aryan Street. Przemysłowa from the another side was in ghetto. And then you go from there through Katedralna, also was in ghetto. And then you go to the street Ogrodowa, Nowy Rynek, Stary Rynek, Warszawska, all streets. Garibaldiego, part Garibaldiego.
When you went out, did you have any kind of sign that you're Jewish?
I didn't put sign. You can go now. We have this, but I was going without this. And also when I come inside, because was allowed, the Polish people come in, and I didn't put it. No. But when you have this on, you cannot go out. And later was the stars. But first was just on white, blue, with David Stern.
How many people lived in your home?
During the war, a lot. Because Mama also took some refugees, and they sleep on the floor in the little dining room. Whatever was possible, she took a lot of people. So much how much she can put on the floor that they can sleep. And we have been 4 children, 5 children, sorry, with me, and mother and father. And sometimes was sleeping 5 people, sometimes more, sometimes just 2.
Where did they come from?
They ran away from all over, from Lublin, because the Lublin ghetto was made by a very quick loss, and they put in Majdanek all people in gas. They come from Radomsko, Ramon. They come from little towns, close Kłobuck. I don't know, but the people ran away from the little villages and little towns because the Polish people denunciated them to German.
What about school for you?
What?
What about school for you?
School. By synagogue, my teacher was daughter on the Chazan in our synagogue. And they live there also. It's a little house where they live. And she made complets. It's called complets. And she teaches us. She teaches us 1940, 1941. Then later was not possible anymore.
What did she teach you?
She teaches us Polish, math, history, geography. She was first to 4 grade teacher, Marysia Fischer.
And where was the school?
In her house. Was no school for us. In the school was hospital, Jewish hospital, because they took the Jewish hospital, which we have in Częstochowa, from no Jewish people, and in my school they make Jewish hospital.
What about medicine?
Medicines? I don't know. When I was sick, I get something, but I don't know how Mama make it. It was, I don't know.
What friends did you have there? What friends did you have? What friends did you have there?
Yes. Friends. This was my friends from my class. We have been, was Heniu Rothschild, Dorota Baum. This was my closest, Jakub Salzman like you. This was my closest friends from my home because they have been in ghetto too, and we have been together in first, second, and third grade.
What was it like for you as a child to be there?
It's terrible. It was hard. As a child you cannot imagine, was terrible childhood. And especially when I had so nice before, everything break, was very hard. Also, we had tried to help Mom make some needles. We make socks. We must that Mama can sell it. That we have a little bit more money. Also for us, because we need clothes. I think the people which never been in this kind of situation cannot imagine how it was. And also always afraid that you can be shot through. When a German has humor, he can shot anybody. He can put on the floor anybody. He can cut the bear of the Jews.
What did you see happening? What did you see happening with Germans?
The German was a lot of them. special when it's coming commando, special commando in ghetto, and make raups, everything was possible, you know, raups, and also kill Jews under the wall. They put Jews under the wall and they shot them. We have, they treat us, that's, I don't know how what, but we have been over human being. They also saw that sometimes nights they are coming to the apartments and making confiscation, find out, ask for gold, for diamonds, for this was
Who came?
a German. It's called Lotna Brigada, Flying Brigade. Then everything was.
What were your parents doing?
During the war, Tata was always long time in the shtibel, long time praying. And Mama was organizing food, or cooking food, organizing primitive but life.
What kind of food was your mother able to bake in the ghetto?
We have potato, grapes, grain, kasha, all kind of kasha. We have almost no meat, sometimes a piece of chicken. You know that she can make soup. We have all kind of beans, you know, some bread, not a lot. When I smuggled was a little bit more. Sometimes I bought outside also beans, you know, and sometimes I bought some carrots, some onion. People try to put in the air where possible some, to make some veggies.
You said your father was at the shtibel, the synagogue.
Praying.
What kind of Jewish life was there in the ghetto?
Shtibel was very close because, you know, each neighborhood has its own shtibel. You have synagogue and shtibel, and during the week, the people have no time go to synagogue. Before the war, they were going to shtibel.
What is shtibel?
A little prayer room, a little praying room, and also a place where you teach the kids Hebrew. You teach them praying. You have a cheder. In shtibel daytime is a cheder. It's called shtibel. I don't know how it's English, but Jewish is shtibel.
Who went to the cheder? Who went to the cheder?
My brother was, when he was a kid, because he was the only son in the 4 girls, he has a lamed at home, and he learned Hebrew and the religion books all home. He also didn't went to public school, Jewish public school. He has another teacher who teach him till the 7th grade. And just 7th grade he make in the public school to have papers. But we girls are going to public schools. And my older sister went to Jewish gymnasium, and she finish high school Jewish gymnasium, and she learned accounting, and she before war she already began to work in a factory Fajglowicz, and she was their accountant, and she was very talented. And my Esther before the war helped my father in the factory packing, bringing this to send everything, helping. And Frima was going to school and later to gymnasium also, but she was always very sick.
So, what else do you remember about the ghetto?
About the ghetto?
Any specific memories?
I just remember blood flowing on the streets, on the squares. The German with big dogs, the Shepherd dogs, and also afraid. People going afraid on the streets, always. Because you never know in which moment they came and they kill people. You never know. And also I was very afraid of the Polish police, because they work for the German. We call them navy blue police because they have navy blue, and they also help the German. Denunciation, when they saw somebody selling something, food, they denunciated the people. Long time after the war, I was dreaming the terrible dreams. Long time. Wake up crying. It was just bad experience, which killed my childhood. My house, my family, everything. You have so nice house, so nice living room, dining room, my God, everything. My room.
What was your room like?
I have no big room, but it was beautiful because Mama make nice bedwear for me, and I have always beautiful bedwear. And also I have my toys and my little table, when I can write, my little desk table. And a lot of clothes, beautiful clothes. I can change. Nobody say you cannot change daytime. I can change because I have nice shoes.
Did you have a favorite dress? Did you have a favorite dress?
Yes, I have. I like very much red with white was beautiful. Was beautiful. Velour red, beautiful. Yes. We have a middle class family, Jewish family. We care for the children, try to give the best education to the children,
When did things start to change in the ghetto?
From beginning, because we already lost most of our stuff. From beginning was hard, very hard. But Mama managed. Always was hot soup. This was always. She said, when you have hot soup, it's okay. Oatmeal soup, something like that.
How long were you there in the ghetto?
Till September 22nd night, from 21 to 22nd, 1942. Because in the evening there was Yom Kippur Eve, and was beginning of Yom Kippur. My dad went to Shtibel, and Mama and we stay home. Because the German always makes terrible things on Jewish holidays. And then came to ghetto, to us, to our apartment, my father's friend, and told, you give the kid now, because this night, 12 in the night, to my mother, he told, they closed the ghetto and nobody will came out. And we already have prepared Polish papers. You know, they make papers for us.
Who did?
The friends of my dad, because they told that they sent the people to gas. They know already. And nobody will live after. And they make papers for my old siblings. But my sister, this Frema, was sick. She cannot come out from ghetto. Mama decided that with the man, Mr. Tomaszewski, I go and my sister Esther, because she was very handy and she can take care of me. And then they decide that Miriam will go out later from ghetto with my brother, Moshe. And we have addresses in a Polish neighborhood, friends which we can go. And Esther went with me. From this time, my name was Basia, Barbara Stefańska, and her name was Zofia Stefańska. And we went on the Third Aleja 72 to Zofia Maciejewska, daughter of the man Maciejewski, and we spent first night by her. Then they tried to find place for me and my sister, and he tried, this father of the girl, and he didn't find something. He said, then they decide we have addresses in Warsaw, we go to Warsaw. I with sister. Then we went to Warsaw, we have address for Mr. Rzewnicki, ulica Złota 5, and we went to him. He said, you cannot stay here, but I have a place for you. And he bring us to Mrs. Gnosińska, Wolska 56. This man Rzewnicki, he was my business partner from my father, from Centra factory, and he opened for the lady a store with bikes, and he make rooms. And she didn't know that we are Jewish. She told just as friends, which must be safe here, you must cook them, give food, and they will sleep here. And so we stayed there. She has a son. She was no husband. She has a son. And we stayed there about 3-4 days. And German was making, it's called łapanka, people from the street taking for slave work to Germany. Workers, slave workers. And they catch her son. And the son ran away. And then this was no more space for us there. Then we went from there, we have another address. We saw to Lublin, to another partner from my father, a business partner, Wowczenko. We went there. He was not there, but we didn't. Wife know when he will come, Jemand from Częstochowa, you must give them possible to sleep. And we sleep there. She give us some food, but in the morning she say you must leave. And he was not there. Then we have another address to Przemyśl. We went there by train everywhere. But we came there and the man which was supposed to help us get sick, heart attack, stroke. Then we came back we cannot stay there. We came back to Warsaw. And then we went to the Wolska Street again, 56. And the lady, Glusinska, went to tell Mr. Rzewnicki that we are back. We have also another friend, my father's, from Norblin, Mr. Antosiewicz. They are together, trying to find place for us. But it was already noisy. 42 was noisy. And then they came and they said, one possibility is just, we send you to work in Germany, in Lion's Mouth. There nobody knows. Nobody will recognize that you are not Polish. And they make through Arbeitsamt. Arbeitsamt is a place where they catch the workers, because some people was catch on the street, some are going by themselves, and they make papers for us. For me, I have already on the papers that I'm no older, 3 years, and for my sister, and was a Durkheimslager. It's called a station where the people were for cutting and they come and they prepare transportation to Germany. And we went there, and from there they took us. We said, when they have ready transport, and we went in this transport from Warsaw Skarszewska to Germany. This is about 800 kilometers. On the route, they make a break to give us some food in Schneidemühle. It's now called Piła. Now it's Poland. This was German. And when we go out with my sister, again came out a lady which know my sister before the war, a Silesian lady, and she start to run to take the German. Jews are here. And my sister, when saw her, took me another side, because this was a changing train station, was more transport. And we went to another transport. And with this transport, she saved us. With this transport, we came to Prenzlau. Prenzlau was a Durkheimslager place where they put the old slave workers and people, big farmers, estate owners, came and buy workers. And so we have been there about 2 days, I think. Then they put us an appel place, a square, and from this was a owner of a big estate. Came a worker from him, economists they call them, and he bought 15 women. They need 15 women, and they give me. Then the sailor said, the 16 one you don't pay because it's a kid. You have extra 16 one. And so they put us in a car with carriages, and they took us to Britzik. This is about 25 kilometers from Prenzlau. And we landed there. They put us 16 in the barrack, one room. And they said, tomorrow morning you go to Appel, we will get work. When we came to the Appel, came out that he has about 150 prisoners of war from Serbia, about 50 prisoners of war from Poland, and all stay in the Appel, and they give where to work, and they put us to work in the field. It was October, and it was already the sugar beets. You must take out, clean them so from the earth and put in a basket. And we have cleaning they give us in the morning, give us coffee and 100 gram bread. Then they make a second Mahlzeit, second lesson was about 1 o'clock. They give us soup from the field. We come, eat soup, and then in the evening we get potatoes in peel potatoes and some ersatz coffee. Ersatz coffee is coffee from wheat. And again a piece of bread. This was all. And I was cold, was very cold. I have no right shoes. I have no right clothes. We have nothing almost. But, and I was a kid. Frozen. They give us shoes for field work, for wood. You know, like the Dutch people has, but was too big for me. And I could not walk in this. Then the soldiers worker have these uniforms, and they have coats. They cut pieces and put on my legs. You know that they have there. And so I was working in the field. The whole time till came frost. And then later in frost we are putting in the fields, this was from the treatment for the soil, from the cows, from the peels. This was a very big, they have areal, very big, about 12,000 acre areal field, just for field. And they have much more forest. In the winter time, we were sending to the forest, the males cut, and we brought together the women's help. It was terrible work. You can imagine. I get frozen legs. Till now I have problem with my legs because I be frozen. And when I was about 13, I get thrombophlebitis in both legs, swollen, terrible. And so we go through we get used to this, and then we try to bring some potatoes here when we were by the potatoes when it was ready, and we bring some. We try to thief. Well, everything what is possible. Carrots from the field because was fields of carrots, cabbage, and we have in the 16 girls we have one oven for heating, but there we have get such from aluminium pots, and we cook on this heating place something warm to eat, and so was hard. Later, because I was a kid, the prisoner of war are getting from Swiss Red Cross packages with food, and they give me, and they save my life because they give me what they can give me. They give me from these packages.
How were you treated? How were you treated by the owners of?
By the owner, he just came in the morning of the horse and was telling who is going where. No street him, just the economists. And so we have no saw him at all. He was a Graf George von Collin. This is Graf George von Collin. This place was calling Rittergut. George Collin was a Rittergut. It was his good. Good is a state, I think. This. Well, and so it was till April 45. Try to not starving, and often my sister didn't eat her bread. He was giving me her bread. And because I was growing, I was always hungry. And when Soviet front, because this is East German when Soviet front coming closer, they took all of us from the Rittergut and put us in the first line that the Soviet, when they shot to the German military, first shot us. And so we have been through forests, fields, from about 26 April till May 3rd. May 3rd, the Soviet free us. May 3rd, 1945. And when they have been terrible, the Soviets also. Special to the women, they raped all women. And when they say I am not German, the women say, German, Polish, French, nothing count, And my sister was doing everything to save me, and she saved me, thanks God. And she always, so that she covered, she was in the front, and she covered me. And then the Soviet, we want to go back. We like to go back to Poland, try to go. But daytime was not allowed to go because daytime moved the military to Berlin, because this was close to Berlin. And we can go just nighttime this way. And so we go nights, days we sleep in the forests, try to find some food in the villages which was the German put out. We find some food, some clothes, and so we go. And when we get free, May 3rd, we have been already in. For May 3rd, we have been May 8th by Stargard Szczeciński, and was the a village Pędzino. But was time that was supposed to be Poland. But the border changed. Whole time, Poland, Soviet, is German, Poland is German. And this same time are coming people from East Poland with trains, where they must put, the Soviet puts them out, and on the way they get cows, horses from UNRWA, was United Nations, an American organization, which give them that they can start farms on the new farms. But when the Soviet came, they took away the UNRWA cows and horses. And it was a few times. And this was till January 46. Few times changing. January 26 was a referendum. And this became Poland.
Can we go back just a little?
Nobody believed that you can so terrible life through go.
Okay, I just wanted to go back a little bit to the farm. So
German farm?
To the farm, yeah. Who were the other people with you on the farm?
What?
Who were the other women with you on the farm?
How many other?
Who were they?
Was how many people working in the farm? Was 50, we women, 16 women, Polish. Then was about 50 Polish Kriegsgefangene. It was soldiers, prison soldiers. Then was about 150 Serbs, prisoners of the war also. And was German, but mostly women's, because the men's was in the front, you know. And also older men's was working of the tractors, on the machines, you know, but, and also Aufsichter. Aufsichter, the man must look that you must work.
Did anybody ask, did anyone think you were Jewish?
On the farm, no. When nobody recognized us. No. I was learning to pray, Christian, Catholic prayers. And I pray with all the girls together. And I learned to also to sing the prayer songs. And whole time I was trying to learn this, that nobody recognized us. And I was, you know, after the war also was, because when the we met some Soviet soldiers, which give them some food, and one was Jewish, and we told him that we are Jewish, and said, don't tell the Polish people, they will kill you. Don't tell them. And so we didn't tell that we are Jewish. I didn't tell nobody. I go to school under false papers, and I went, and my sister get married also under false papers, playing that they are not Jewish. Till 51, when we need I already work after school. Then we make this first IDs after the war, and I need to have birth certificate, and I haven't, you know. Then I must go. Then I decided, I told my one teacher that I am Jewish, I have no birth certificate. And she gave me money, and I went to Częstochowa for my birth certificate. But this is later, after school. It was last year, in my gymnasium, for diploma. I need the birth certificate for my diploma. Because I made first gymnasium in, I must tell you, because after when, you must go back, because when the Soviets stop us, then we work again in the fields. After referendum, September 1946, begin school, Polish school, and I went to the school. In this school, I make few grades in 1 year, so that I finished the school June in 1 year. I finished the school June 1947 was the elementary school together with middle school. And then, because I like to learn, the director of the school make for me a stipendium that I can go to gymnasium, to border school from this village, because there was just the middle school. I went to Wałcz. This is about from this place where I live with my sister, about 150 kilometers. And there I was in the school. We live 8 girls in one room, and I get education there. I learn. I like to learn. I learn good. They give me a lot premiums, you know, a shoe or underwear or something, because I have nothing, and also was very hard. And for all people was very hard. And when I finished this school, by finishing the school, I came out to my teacher, just to my teacher, that I am Jewish. And then I went to Częstochowa, and Częstochowa, in the government office, statistic office, when I went for my birth certificate, I came to the man working there, and I said, I need birth certificate. My name is Fajgla Horowicz, daughter of Berek Leib. And he said, no, you don't live. I said, I live, I stay here. He said, no, your siblings, Miriam and Moshe survive, but you and Esther no, and Frima no. I said, no, I survive. And I told him he said, you know, you came too late, 2 years too late, because 2 years ago, your sister emigrated to Israel, and my brother emigrated already 1947 to Palestine. And they are now in Israel, because it was already Israel.
Can I go back a little bit?
But he has address, because my sister, after the war, her husband took back a factory, big factory, and he has one brother was living in London. He sent to him garn, and he was making stockings and socks for men, because this was socks factory, and they have make very well. After I was hungry all time this time, but they have everything, and when they have problems with the communist, with the government, this man was helping them. And he, after when they decided they must go so quick how possible, because this was beginning on very regime time, was no more possibility to go out easy. They pay everything, and he was one who help my sister, and she give him a lot of stuff for her from her apartment, and also she was writing. They have correspondence whole time. Then he sent telegram to my sister, Miriam. I find your siblings.
Can I go back? I just wanted.
No, Tel Aviv. You know, in this moment, all friends of my sister start to, maybe our siblings are on life, you know, because as big thing, the old Częstochowa, you know, but was not possible to go out from Poland already. Was closed, the border was closed, was Stalinism's time, no emigrate, no nothing. Was they are looking for Zionists, making all kind of process for the Zionists, was terrible time. So then I went back to Vouch with my papers. Also I made already, he told me, here some people which know you are on life. Also the owner of the house where I live, and Mrs. Winerova, he took me there, and I stay about 2 days, and I went back, and then they make my papers, but also I write a telegram to my sister that I find our siblings.
Can I ask?
She live in Penzino, in the it was state farm, still living there, and then I have no enough money to go to tell her for the train, but later the teacher gave me some money, and I went to her to tell her, and we start to exchange letters with Moshe, with Miriam. Then they try to send us some packages because we have no enough clothes, no enough food, everything. And so what we have, they try to take me, because I have no family, I was just me, but it was not possible. Also through the Red Cross, through the Swiss Red Cross, was not possible to take me out. And so when I finished my school in Vouch, I went to Szczecin. I became
Barbara, can we just, a couple questions I have.
What?
To go back a little bit. During the war.
During the war.
Yeah. What was it like to leave your parents?
What?
What was it like to leave your parents?
To leave my parents was terrible. Mama said, you go out, you are not allowed to look back. Go, she said to me. Daddy was not home, was Yom Kippur. She said, you go, don't go. You are not allowed to cry, she said. You must learn catechism. This is Catholic, to be Catholic. And don't cry. Till now, I cannot cry. You know what this means? I have so terrible situation in my life. I never cry. I cannot. No trains. You shut your trains. This was.
And where were your siblings?
What?
Where were your siblings during this time?
What?
Where were your
My siblings? They have been home. I went with Esther. Moshe, because you must know, was Polizei time. You are not allowed to go out after 6 from your apartment, also in ghetto. That's why my dad went before 6 to the Stiebel and stay whole night in the stable. I think so. I don't know if they catch them. I don't know what later was. I just remember that he went to the stable, and the siblings have been all harmed. And Mama, the Frema was supposed to go also with my older sister, but she said, no, I stay with you. And she stayed with my parents. Night, Moshe and Miriam flew away also from the ghetto. Also was close, but through basement. It was basement under the houses, because our house was close to the Polish part. They went through the out. And when they killed my parents, I don't know exactly, but all Częstochowa people know. September 22, they put the Jews on trains and bring to Treblinka to gas. And for us, the Yahrzeit is always September 22nd. And my sister went there, and my parents. Also the whole Gold family. All Jews from Częstochowa. Just a little group they took for work on the river regulation. And they make a little ghetto, and from there they took them to work.
Where did Moshe and Miriam go?
They came after us to Warsaw, the same way, and back to Warsaw. Then the site in Warsaw, when Antosiewicz told that they cannot help to stay us in Poland, they decide, Miriam decide, she's going back, trying to go back to the little ghetto, to Placówka, it's calling Placówka, because her boyfriend Gutman was engineer, and he was working. They don't take him to Treblinka with the transport. And Moshe said, she is not going by herself, I go with her. And so we. But, and she worked on the Placówka, but they put her in Hasak. Hasak was a factory, for ammunition factory in Częstochowa. She was working in Hasak. And he was going on because he was melioracji engineer, he was working on the regulation, on the Warta regulation. But one day, some people flew on the way back from the work, and he came with less. There was no 15 people was less, and they killed him. The German killed him. Also, and my sister survived Hasak. She was one from the 600 people who survived the concentration camp Hasak. And Moshe, after they killed Gutman, ran away also next day. First to Mr. Wolf, this man which has the factory from my father, and with help from him, he went to Arbeitsamt in Warsaw. He helped him to make the papers, and also he went to work in Warsaw, in slave work. But after 1.5 years, somebody recognized him, and he must fly again inside in Germany. But he fly, and then he went to the state Arbeitsamt it was Mecklenburg, in Mecklenburg, and say, I lost my papers, I don't know where, but I lost them. He made new papers, give another names. And so he survived. He also got free through the Soviets, by Mecklenburg, but he straight ahead go back to Częstochowa. So he met my sister and the whole way to Eretz Israel.
Where were you when you heard the war was over?
What?
Where were you when you heard the war was finished?
I was by Rostock. By Rostock in the field. In the forest, so. Because Tillariera came, the Russian Tillariera came before us, and they said, stand up, no more German here. And we stand up, and it was, yeah.
How did you react?
We have to be happy that we are free from German, you know. But later was a hell again with the Soviets. Because they put on the front the Kaumeks, terrible, you know, from Kaumeks prisoners, all kind. This was the last, you know, Berlin, Sturm of Berlin. Yeah. And again, a few months slave work. You know, it was so terrible when they took away the cows from the people, from the farmers, Polish farmers, and it was babies. And they milk the cows and take away, the people Polish people must milk. They took away the whole milk. They make from this slivka and later butter, and the whole milk without the fat they put on the earth. No giving for the kids. Babies are starving. This was, you know, or you have saw that the people make, some people pass away, and they put on the graves, they make something, flowers. The ladies, soldiers, took this night from the graves.
This was where?
This is Pędzino by Stuttgart. But you have Stuttgart Szczeciński, because you have two Stuttgart in Poland. Stargard, Polish is Stargard.
And how did you get there?
By foot. They stop us there. By foot, after front. Everything by foot.
And how long were you there at the?
In Pędzino, with till September 1947. Till I get to vouch to the school with internat.
And where was your sister?
What?
Where was your sister?
In Pędzino, working. She was a good in sewing, and she from the German she took a sewing machine, and everybody needs sewing, and she was sewing, and they pay us with food. You know, so, and yeah, and later she met her husband, not Jewish, and he was from White Russia, but he ran away because he was also slave workers in Germany by Königsberg, and the Stalin time they took all slave workers and put in trains to Siberia to Gulag, and he ran away by Stuttgart in Wolfino, and so he came to work there, and they met and fell in love. It was her first life. She'd never been in love.
What was his name?
Sofia.
His
Esther.
name?
His name, Józef Romańczuk. And they emigrated in 1968. They emigrated to Israel after the Gomułka March 1968, and 1968, and they have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. The boys went to military, Israeli military. One stay whole life in the military till pension, working for military. Rafael, this is by Haifa, military factory, and another one want work also for military, but he was an optic engineer, and they have special kind for borders, and they built this on all borders all over. He was going as engineer, built this all over, also, German borders, French borders. From it is also Israeli patent. And now they are both retired. And and the daughter was nurse, and then she passed 4 years ago on cancer. And the youngest daughter is working. She finished the art school, but on art you cannot make money, and she needs to make money for living. And she went to bank school, and she was working. 2 years ago she was retired bank. And they have all children, and they have grandchildren and great-grandchildren already, and no great-grandchildren. Yeah. I have a lot nephew. I have the nephews. I have the kids of the nephews. One nephew has 13 grandchildren. He was alone, one son by my older sister, because she was very sick after Hasak was that she had get one child was a wonder, But he got 4 kids, and he has 13 grandchildren already. I have a very big family in Israel. All my nephews all has 3 or 4 children, and they have grandchildren.
So-
It was time when the people in Israel try to have a lot, the Ashkenazi try to have each family minimum 3,
And so for you finished school.
After finished school, I went to Stettin, and I became have a job in. I have qualification for teaching, because after the war was not enough teachers. After gymnasium, I make a courses, and I can teach children from 1 to 4. And I became, by teaching, I became a little room for me, in a place where were 4 teachers living, and then I became a scout leader. I loved this work, and I was making camps for 160 girls as the leader in summer camps, and because I was always trying to sell my summertime, that I get some money to buy shoes or underwear or something and then also I became very good scout leader. Good. They like me. I make a lot of good job with scout groups after school. And then we begin to work with kids, another kids, not scout kids, all kind of after school activities. And we make a lot after school activities with the kids. And so was with, I work a lot, many hours, a lot. Any zloty try to have a little bit more. And also try, my sister has very hard time. I try to help her a little bit. And so till December 1953. And this became, I was already as Jewish. And I make first papers, my papers are Fajla Chorowicz. No changing to Barbara Śliwińska. Just Fajla Chorowicz, Barbara Śliwińska. And was the time when became a wave anti-Semitism. They called this anti-Zionism. They closed the Jewish school in Stettin. They closed everything what is possible, and they put away the people from jobs, Jewish people, and they say that we try to make Zionist uprising. Idiots. But in any case, because I was very active, no active Zionistisch, active for the kids, I must fly. In December, somebody told me, Barbara, you must fly from Stettin, because they put you and make a process for few. And in this time, when I was so active, I was going to a lot of courses which make the main quarter of Girl Scouts, not just Girl Scouts. And for the Girl Scouts was responsible Leocadia, now went away my Lewińska. Leocadia Lewińska, and she likes me very much. She put me all courses. She has a Tepich, a Jewish husband, an economy professor. She invited me when I was there. Then I fly to her. I have her address. Whenever happens, she say, go, just take train, come to me. And I stay by her few weeks. And also was helping me. I cannot get a job because they then will register where I am. Also was another scout leader, Janina Balcerzak. She helps also. And then they put me to live with one lady, Krystyna Dąbrowska, which was, look, after the war, I must still fly. Krystyna Dąbrowska, which was niece of a very famous composer, Karol Szymanowski. And she got the all author rights, and for this time, she was rich. She has nice apartment because of him, and he passed away, but she has already, she was the only one person which has all right music rights for his, and he was a lot playing. His music was concerto music and King Roger opera music, and all over the world. And she bought me a lot of beautiful clothes because I ran with nothing, again with nothing. She take care of me. She was journalist and in a newspaper, week paper, Dookoła Świata, around the world for use. She gave me there a job with letters from the readers, and I prepared for her the letters or the days ago. And so I worked more than a year. In April 55, the Ministry of Education start to prepare a big house for work with kids after school, with street kids, for all kind of kids, and also for kids from regular family. And organizer of this was also Jerzy Berek. He was for the headquarter scout, the scouts, and he took me to work for him. And I prepared with him the opening of the big project, very big project. We get a building with swimming pool, with gymnastic rooms, with technical rooms, with art rooms, theater, little theater, music rooms with a concerto hall. And the opening was July 22nd, 1955. And I worked there long. I worked there in 1966. And we make performances for kids. And this, for another time, this is the building is a culture palace in middle in the town in Warsaw. On the other side is a congress hall, big congress hall with stage. And we start to make performances for kids, for Christmas, for Kids' Day in June. Because we make this, and I start to work with professional artists. We make a lot of performances. For Christmas we begin with 5 and we finish with 32. 2 times a day. What is it? I don't know. Come, somebody there?
It's okay. We're still rolling. It was your.
The lady? My God, idiot. Is she gone?
She's gone.
She's so loud. And then we start to make performances for adults with the artists. I was very good organizer, responsible, never counting time. From early morning to late evening was doing this. And we perform in the Congress Hall. We could make money. And then when we start to do it, I get offered to work for the state agency, Warsaw. And I left the youth. And Estrada Stołeczna, Warszawa. And we prepare with another people, with directors, music directors, musicians, performances. And we also go with the performances to another towns in Poland. And I was this one with organized hotel, transportation, stage work. So was my work. Big performances was my work till the end, till I go. Because first I went with the Warsaw Agency. Then I worked with the PAGART, Polish State Artist Agency. I have here some prospects, you can look at them. And then they give me to prepare Polish days in another countries, socialist countries. But in Russia, I went on tour with orchestra with 6 weeks, with Polish program, 2 pair dancers, solists from the Opera House Warsaw, and 6 singers. We make built a program, Estrada program, stage program, and we begin in Moscow, we went St. Petersburg, Stalingrad, we went Ashgabat, Dushanbe, Novosibirsk, Irkutsk, Ulaanbaatar, 6 weeks. This was my first tour, abroad tour, with the orchestra and this. We came back. And this went very well, very well. Then later, they give me to make a tour with Mazowsze, it's Polish ensemble. Dance, like Moisiew in Russia, was a Polish ensemble, Mazowsze. And we went on tour with Mazowsze to Russia also. Then it was 1974, was soccer mastership, Weltmeister Cup in Frankfurt, Germany. And each country, 16 countries, make a program. Poland was part on this 16 groups, soccer groups, and we have to make a program opening. The concept was so, Mr. Fletcher was the main director, that on the Forest Stadium, Waldstadion, Frankfurt am Main, is open balls, like soccer balls. And we have 15 minutes to show each country present. And they give me this job to organize. I was a director, but to organize the contract with the artists and so. And when we have first meeting with the concept, the concept was January 1974. I asked for a dolmetscher, translator, because after the war, I was not using German. I was not using my left German. And we went, was a conference, everybody has to, and they give me the translator. And I begin, and he was a bad translator. Then I said to the, halt! I will tell this. You are a bad translator. And I tell in German. Then Mr. Keller said, what? You told that you need translator? You do not get translator. And so I begin to work with German, German artists. And I begin to go with Mazowsze to Germany, make performances there. And then they give me, because this opening night was a big success, and Poland get a bronze medal, then we must make the closing, was in Stuttgart, and we make a closing program on the stage, and I organized this too. Then they give me to make Polish Culture Day, 1976, in the first Polish Culture Days in Essen, Germany. And we make the program. On the program was orchestra, symphony orchestra, Cantor Theater, experience, very good theater. It was ballet. Ballet, we have ballet, very good modern ballet, Drzewiecki, Poznań Dance Theater, and also jazz groups. And we make 10 days program in Essen. To Essen came mayors from another towns. This was the first Polish day in Essen. It was begin the time when Gierek was already on the Benin contact. The Cold War was opening, was they need money. West money, they open all the culture to the West. And in these years, Poland has very good theater, drama theater, very good, very good. And we start to make exchange with theaters. Thalia Theater Hamburg, Goethe, Deutsches Theater in Göttingen, Kammerspieletheater in München, and what else? Another theater, Hanover Theater, and Polish theater are coming with very good drama artists, and these are coming to us. And was first theaters coming, and also we make exchange directors. Jaime from Köln came to make direction. Holubek went there to make, and this then was so that we make in Poland 1978 a festival, theater festival. You have this Internal Theater Institute all over the world, and this institute make in every year another country has this festival, and we have it in Warsaw. And I was organizing this everything. Then I met another from Roma Theater. We bring Piccolo Theater. I get very good contacts with all directors, and I make exchange. Also, we bring Russian theater, Toustonokov Theater, Lubimov Theater. These two theater we bring to Wolfsburg because it must be modern theater. They have been already the modern theater. And I bring Wysocki for concerts. Last concert, May, the year I don't remember which the year, this moment, he passed away. But last concert, he made 7 July in Warsaw. And then he went back and he passed away. Yeah. Then we very much helped me this work in the state agency later to build my own agency. You know, because I work with the state agency a lot, and because I was Jewish, I have all these problems, sometimes, always, afraid of always if I get the passport this time, because after 2 you must give the passport back. And also, if I get the job, you never know. Was enough people which like the job, but this way I must always wear more, show that I am good. And I have luck, do contact to people. I love people. And the people likes me.
What was it like to go back to Germany for you?
When I came back to Germany, first I come from the festival. I already have close to Frankfurt my best friend, a physician with her husband, living Hanau close to Frankfurt, because Gomułka kicked them out. Then I have first, they helped me a lot with for this first job also. They drive me, they help me a lot. And was not easy hear the language. But then I get used, and I always read. Also before, I read a lot. And that's why I have the language. I have the language when don't want to speak in the language. But later I became friend. There, very nice people I met, very friendly. Everybody knows that I am Jewish. And they treat me maybe better this way because they have such feeling that they need to, you know, they know that I survive. They know everything about, because we speak about, they want to know. This was the another generation already, which like to know how it was. Till now, I have very good friend in Hamburg. She's my friend from 1974 till now. When I was very sick, she came here a few times. And I have another friend, her husband, director of the theater, Heilbronn, gave me the possibility to start my agency. She was actress. She's also my good friend. And I have few good friends there. Everything is this theater, musicians, this kind, you know. This is another world, maybe. Also, you know, dancers. I was very with Neumeier. I bring him first to Poland.
What were the names of some of the shows you put on?
What?
What were the names of some of the shows you made?
I was bringing ready shows made by theater, not this, so ready shows. I was bringing dramatic theater, Holubek Theater Dramatyczny in Warsaw. I bring them with Różewicz play. Różewicz is famous Polish drama writer. All menagerie, of this kind. And I bring also drama from Ionescu play. Also I bring classic, the Dziecia Wania, the Three Sisters, because later I bring original Toustog with the Three Sisters and Uncle Vanya. And I bring also Toustog Theater, Waszek, with Lebiediew, very good performance. Parusko, to Waszek. This is horse, but the woman horse was so good. You ask maybe your mama saw it. You know, because they came also here to America with this play. It's very good. The best actors was playing there. Lebiediew, so good. Oh, the best actors. And also I make engagement for Toustog to make few directing in Thalia Theater in Hamburg, in Deutsches Theater in Göttingen. And you know, I was ready place. You know, we bring it. Also later I bring Israeli plays. Habima and Kamari Theater I bring to Poland, and I bring to Petersburg and Moscow. We perform in Russian with translation. We bring all equipment. When Gorbachev opened little the door, I bring everything what is possible. You know there. Habima I bring 1988. Yeah. And later came back Toustog to Tel Aviv and Yerushalayim and Haifa.
When did you come to the United States?
So, formal, I got the green card 1987. But I stayed just in break times. I was working whole time in Germany, in the theater. I have a place an office place from director Klaus Wagner, and I make from there work my German agency. And when I asked the friends how I should call, they said, just Agency Barbara Śliwińska. The whole theater world here knows you, and they will take from you. And you know, German has the structure of the theater is so. You have theater with ensemble, and you have a lot, almost in all bigger towns, stage-ready theater, where you bring ensemble. They have no ensemble, and you bring ensemble to perform there. And I use my contacts from before. I was bringing from Poland. Then I used to bring there later the Israeli theater, the Russian theater, also Polish theater, Lithuania, little from Vilna. And I begin with drama pieces, but later I start just big pieces, opera. And I bring opera Vilna, Mali Operny, St. Petersburg. I was bringing them from 11 till 14. Every year some performance. And I was bringing the opera houses from Warsaw, Łódź, Poznań, Bydgoszcz, to Germany, to tour them. I always make, with opera houses, I make about one tour, twice a year, spring and autumn, each time about 12-15 performances. No? It was a big job because you have tracks, sometimes big tracks, six. From Penderecki performance, The King Ubu, I have 6 tracks. But we did it. And you know, Penderecki was leaving. He was coming always to first opening night. He was in the performance. I make Theodorakis from Greece, Greg Zorba ballet, and also opera. I forgot it. I always produce with a theater. I give them money and they produce it. I also was Landowski, a composer, French, from Poland, a French composer, make opera about life Wiśniewskaja, the wife from Rostropovich. And we performed this 15 times in the theater there. Very nice. She came, she was in all performance. She was not singing already, but she made matinee, and also she was meeting people, Wiśniewskaja. Yeah, it was very active, interesting life, you know, and first I make the money for the Polish government, and later I make money for me. That's why I have the house, because I came out with $5.
Can you tell me about your family after the war?
What?
Can you tell me about your family after the war?
My family, I must go to... Can you break? I'd like to tell you that after the war, I was not afraid of nothing. I told myself, you survive Hitler and his mouth, that you must survive everything and giving back people what you can give them. Then I was trying to help people after the war, everything what is possible. Escape. I bring, when we first went to, with the play from Kammerly Theater to Moscow and Petersburg, we bring with us 6,000 Haggadah, because this was about Pesach time, and we smuggled 6,000 books of Haggadah. Was no problem.
How did you do that?
With the stage design, we put costumes and Haggadah costume. You know, it was so.
How did you meet your husband?
Yeah, my husband I meet on the university. He was studying engineering, and I was studying sociology. And I met him on New Year's Eve. And it was so that we danced. And after this, he asked me if he can come, bring me. I was living in a room together with two other girls in Niemcewicza Street. And this is the New Year Eve was in headquarters of the Scouts. Was far. It's about more than 1 hour walk. Good walk. Was cold, was freezing, but we speak. And he asked me about my life, and I told him. Then I asked him about his wife. When he was 14, the father was shot through German, and he grew up in a little farm with his mother, very poor, very poor. And after the war, he went to schools, boarding schools, and make education, but also hard time. And so then he asked me, maybe, can we meet maybe on the weekend? I said, yes, why not? And we meet. And he was very nice. No, you know, so distinguished, so with nice. No, nice. And so and we met every week on the weekends. Then we met every evening by the library. And then he said to me, you know, I have nothing to give you because I am poor. I said, I have also nothing to. We have both nothing, but we work, we study, and we are young, we have the future. And I said to him, you know, you are so correct that I like you, because he was really correct, very good school. The mama told him because of the only son, you know, and also she did everything what is possible for him. Then he asked me, maybe you will marry me. And I said, yes. And so. And then we married. We met end of December, and we married March 19, very quick. But before we married, we went to his mother to meet her. And the mother was very unhappy because he was not Jewish, and she was nice but distant. We came back, and he get a letter from her. The priest, Catholic priest, write a letter. You know that I love you. You are my love, but better when you die as marry a Jewish girl. It was terrible letter. Long, terrible letter. And he showed me this letter. And he said, this is my life. It's my life. You will get mad. And then we make the appointment for, from the state, because we have state marriage. And so, and we Then we try to get a room for us. And we take few weeks, we rent a room, and we live in this room. He was very nice, very nice, very nice. And I work, he works, we save money together, nice. And then I get pregnant. And next 1.5 years later, I get a son, first son, Peter. And then 1 year later, second son, Jerzy. When I get pregnant, and I was supposed to give the birth, it was March 4, I will give the birth. End of January, the mother write to him a letter. I don't accept your marriage, but I accept my grandchild. We never know what it is. And I will come and help you. And so she came to us. And in a little room like this, so little, she lived with us. It was kitchen for 5 families in this room, and bathroom also one. And I give birth to the boy, to my son. She helps a lot. I was working more and more to get money, and every possible job, my field with kids, and after school or after school teaching. And so was till we tried to get an apartment. And first apartment we get 1956 in September. The boy already. Apartment was 1 room, but separate. Room, kitchen, bathroom. This was, like $1 million this time. And we moved there. Then come the change with the government in Poland, and was the possibility to go to Israel. First possibility. My siblings bought me ticket for me and my husband. We left the little boy with because I was not fitting him, the little boy with grandma. And end of November, we went to Israel to meet first time after 1942, my Miriam and Moshe, and a lot cousins, and also the sister of my mother, younger sister, Sarah Borenstein. She was Sarah Beitner. She was from 1926 in Palestine. And we stayed there 5 weeks, came back to Poland. I was already pregnant with my boy, Jerzy. And we work. Was this time was not possible. Was begin the Aliyah, the new Aliyah, but possible was from end 56 till end 58 was possible, but we have the 2 little kids, the Catholic devout mother from my husband, she was devout. We can now live to Israel. The family tried to pursue us. Come, bring her. She has a church here. I said, no, I am responsible. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. No, that is not possible. And so we grow the kids. I decide that they must know that they are Jewish, because Jewish master, they are full Jewish. They are Jewish. From beginning, they know they are Jewish. I learned them the Jewishkeit, and I have also in Warsaw my sister-in-law, Moshe's wife, brother, Professor Arthur Eisenbach, director of Jewish Institute, and he helped us a lot, really helps us a lot. And from beginning, the kids know Uncle Arthur, and this was the picture. They like to be like him. So a lot of people this time don't tell the kids that they are Jewish, but we, from beginning. And then when they went to first grade, before they went for first grade, but they have the 5, we decide one time, because already was no more possibility to go out, and also I cannot go out. First, we decide the kids must learn from beginning English. When gives possibility and they like to go out, they can become in any English-speaking country to learn. And we must give them education and English. And we give them. When the second one was at school, Jerzy, when he was first grade, the teacher called us and she said, he's so talented in math. We give him the special class. And he finished math high school, later all school, math schools. And then he became Olympic student on the math in the University of Warsaw. Peter, the older one, was better in speeches. He learned very easy English, German, Hungarian. He learned it. When he finished school, he was 1974, high school, June finished, went make exam and went to Budapest, to University Budapest, to learn engineering, but in Hungarian. And he finished, 1981, he finished, make master degree, engineer master degree in Budapest. In between, I was using possibilities that the kids met. They have Jewish friends in Warsaw, but they met also my family members. Then I sent Peter, 1973, to Israel. And he was 6 weeks there in break time, came back and met everybody. Then Jurek went 74, also met everybody and came back. And then later, Peter finished, when Peter was beginning the change in Poland and was again very anti-Semitic. And he said, I will not stay, finished Budapest, will not stay here. He tried, he came here, but was no possibility to get permit to stay here. He went and was living 1 year in Moshav in Israel. And from the Moshav in Israel, he came to Germany and tried to find work and tried to find the possibility to work, the visa, standing visa. As he came to he came to Germany already with Tudat Zeut, with the Israeli passport. And it was very hard also. But a long time he was alone, a long time working, but long time. In 1986 he found a partner, a Jewish girl, because he was just Jewish girl, of course, I was too. And she is physician. They are now parents of 3 boys, live in San Diego. They have grandchildren already. I have from this side 4 grandchildren. They are retired, everything is okay. Jurek went second time. After second year university, he went in 1979 to Israel for vacation. But he met Susan in kibbutz. In kibbutz by youth kibbutz by Mishmar Haemek. And they get enough. And she write to her mother, he must come back because of study. They give him few months off, but he must come back end of November. And begin was 1st October, 2 months they give. No, 2 months? No, 1 month later he came back in. Susan called her parents. She came to Israel to the kibbutz to learn in Ulpan Hebrew from Chicago, Skokie. She met Jurek. They fell in love.
I'm rolling again.
Okay? Yeah. And she called her mother and told her mother and father, I am now coming to Chicago back. I am flying to Warsaw because I have love in Warsaw. But she had no easy visa to Poland because then she stayed with Peter in the house for students, waiting 1 month for visa. We do everything what is possible in Warsaw that she get the visa. And she came November 29 to Warsaw. But she came, you know, how the American student travel, with backpack, 2 pair jeans, 1 jeans jacket, and few t-shirts, and that's it. And it was cold in Warsaw, and you can nothing buy. It was very hard time. You cannot buy underwear, you cannot buy nothing. All my friends give something to her that she got warm, but she is a very good organized girl. She came to 29. She went next day to the American embassy. That she came after her life. And that she needs a job because she needs to make money. And she began December 2nd work in the embassy. First they give her in the library, and then they give her another job in the press bureau. And she was making correction, translation from Poland to English. She must make a translator with no Polish, but she make good English for this, you know, and was very hard time. But the mother of my husband start to like her very much because she gets food baskets from boxes from the embassy shop, and everything was, we have no enough, we have no butter, we have no meat, we have no sugar, we have everything was very hard time in Poland. And when she brings this everything beautiful package, oh, this was, you know, this was heaven for grandma. They live with us in a little apartment, but 1 month, and I have a friend And she has a son. She is an actress in the National Theatre, and her husband was director there. And they have a son which was studying, has an apartment, little, very little, very so little. So, but 2 levels, they make it 2 levels, you know. And in this, they call it a nest from the pigeon. And they give us this apartment that we can make it renovation. And they, friends of my son, help. And they live in the apartment 1 year. We start, when she came, we start also to make the hatuna, the wedding. Mother and father of Suzanne never have a passport. You know, Skokie people, they never went abroad. But they need to make the passport. They make the passport, the visa. And I book from them hotel, because I was working in the state agency. Then we have special prizes. And I booked the best hotel, Victoria Hotel in Warsaw. It's across the street from the Opera House. And we met them and bring them to the hotel. The hotel has good breakfast, has shops for $. Mama said she loves shopping. She look, buy nice perfumes. And then we invite them to our house for a dinner. And I came back from work with heavy bags. They said, why you are so tired? Because already was there. I said, because I stayed in lines for food. Why you stayed in lines, she said. You can buy, look, in my hotel is everything. You can buy it, everything was online. I said, but Rieda, this is dollar shop, and I work for zloty. And this was I make in zloty 1 month is $20. I said, no. I said, yes. But we prepare, you know, we try to make our best. That is nice. And then we begin to preparing for the wedding. We must find fabric to make the dress for her. We must find place to buy him also the suit, because everything was, nothing was. Shoes was problem. We became 1 number too small. But we must find for the rings, and they get, you can from the state buy 1 ring, not 2. And my husband gave him his ring. And we must make also, the mother of Suzanne must bring from the state birth certificate on papers that she was no married also. But they bring it, we must make here also in the jury, that's the translation of everything. And the wedding was made from 30 to 31st December. We make the wedding. We make a little dinner just for very close Arthur, Professor Arthur Eisenbach, his wife, my very close friend, Jurek's teacher a math teacher from university, my son Peter, my son Peter, what else were? My husband, her parents, Rieda and father, and Jurek and Susan. Everything was together, was 14 people. And we also was not easy to get food in restaurant. But we find a restaurant which has duck. And the wedding was duck. Some wine, duck was also was. But then the father wants to make also a dinner. But it was so everything for him was no nothing. He said, make a big, nice dinner and a nice restaurant. And Old Market, Bazyliszek was a nice old restaurant. We make reservation, and it was so funny. This was for us for zloty. We never was about work 6 months. He bought for everything. He paid, but dollar was so high. He paid for everything $300. He said, I can make every day a wedding. Yeah. Then I stayed there in Victoria 3 days. And from there they went to Portugal and to Spain and went back to Illinois, to Scotland. Yeah. Susan was brave. She was also try to cook, try to bake by herself. We invite them always. I try to at the black market to buy something, imbrick them that they have food enough, but was everything very expensive was on. But on end, she said, and she has some from the packages from the embassy, which helped also us. On the end, she say, I cannot live anymore here. And she said, we are going for July vacation to Chicago, and I will stay there. You must come back. I cannot. And he was not finished with study. The mother also decided that they want to make a big Jewish wedding in Skopje, with rabbi, with everything. And this they prepare middle of September 1980. My brother Moshe came from Israel for the wedding. He bring under chuppah Jurek, and it was beautiful. Still was living the grandma and nursing home from Susan, but we bring her, and she was so happy. My God, a Jewish boy, I'm so happy. I was so afraid always. And then they stay here. He was trying to find some job. Was not easy also, but he was painting by the members, friends members, and tried to get to finish his study. And this time when Moshe stayed here, he stayed a few weeks in Israel, in Chicago, 3 or 4 weeks. Not just Chicago, in the US. And I stayed just 10 days. I have no more holidays. And we find out that in Kalamazoo is my first cousin from son Shlomo Beitner, son from Sarah, my sister's youngest sister, my mother's youngest sister. And Moshe said, you know what, we have problem with the State Department that they approve the index for Warsaw University. Let's go to Kalamazoo. He lives in Kalamazoo. Maybe he can ask. He has a factory in Kalamazoo, rich people. And we went there. I said, for me, on the evening, we spoke to him by dinner. He said, it's no problem. Dalia Motzkin is the head of mathematician department in Kalamazoo University, this West Michigan. I call her. And he called her and he said that he has somebody for family in this ganze Geschichte, everything he told, his story, short, but, and she said, let him come to the university. She met him. He went with my cousin. She met him. She gave him to a professor, from Greek professor, but he was mathematician in his class, and said, check him. what he knows. And he checked him in the class, and they took him without papers. He has the Polish papers, but was no acceptable for the State Department. And so, and the professor said to him, I took you, and we will help you make the papers. For university. He was already, he got already the green card, because he was husband on Susan. And so on, he finished, he made their engineer. Susan find straight ahead, because she is one person which she don't want help from family. My cousin told them, you can stay how long you need. He has the key for the car. He has the key for the house. Use everything. Everything is for you. You can, when you have time, teach math my son, because he is from. And they stay no long, few weeks just. Susan find job on the university, on human researches. And she worked there, then she get less to pay there. He has less to pay for the university. And so Susan worked and he learned, and so he finished. And he get, after he finished, 1980, he get offer for job. And he got the offer from Barrows, a company, computer company, big computer company. And he came with Susan for an interview here. He applied to other jobs, but NASA, he applied for NASA, but because he was from communist country, but he came here, they make interview with him, and they took him. And so they decided to stay here. They find a little place to live, not far from the Barrows. And so it was Jerzy Begin in Pennsylvania, and they stay till now. For 1980, they are now Pennsylvania people. And we, 1981, we stay in Poland. 1981, begin martial law in Poland. The night, December 98, 91, became martial law in Poland. And I was supposed to go on tour with Columbia Artists Management from New York, with Mazowsze. But they closed all borders. Was no flying zone to Poland, nothing. Just Swiss Airlines. But I have the contact to the embassy, American embassy, through Susan when she was working. They invited us few times, special to the culture attaché. And I called him, I said, I must to meet you. And I told him, look, Samuel Niefeld is the vice president of Columbia Artists, and he was taking us for 6 weeks. We'll not get out. When you will be problem, they will cancel. But when he write through you a letter that the Polish government must pay a fine 3 times was the contract, they will let us know. Go. And they did this way. And this was a right trick. When they said they give passport, they allowed us. But was problem with flying. We cannot fly Pan Am because was not flying. Then he made arrangements, Swiss Air, to Zurich, and from Zurich to New York. And so then was passport. Everybody gets passport. I know, because my son too was abroad in the West. But the director, main director, artistic director and founder, Mira Zimeńska, very famous actress before the war. And after the war, she built the company from beginning, after the war straight, take poor kids and made from them a big ensemble, 120 people. She told, when she don't give the visa, I'm not going. You can send the ensemble, but not me. So I get visa. She said, when she get visa, passport. When she get passport, visa, American ambassador. When she went not, I'm staying home. I will not go. No, and then it was so that I get the passport, and we flew and we perform with martial law, was demonstration outside, but we became very good audience, a very lot audience. More people want to go in. We performed 3 weeks in Carnegie Hall, was so book. Then we performed in a an opera house in Chicago. Then we performed in Chicago. From Chicago, we went to Buffalo. We performed in Buffalo. From Buffalo, we went to Toronto. We performed in Toronto. We performed in, how is the town? Another big town in Chicago, of age. Anyway, we performed. And on the way back, we have supposed to perform in Washington Kennedy Center 1 week, going from Canada to New York. And in Canada, the government take refugees from Poland by the time without limit, and giving them 1 year learning English, full living. And last night my voice solist came and said, Barbara, this is the only one possibility that we can stay. We live don't say, Madame, when we will go out from hotel, you will tell this, Madame. And 11 people flew. You know what this is? An ensemble work. 11 dancers, because they have more easy to get work. When they leave, I went to Madame. I said, Madame, she loves very much cognac with milk. I said, it's time that you have second cognac with milk. And I make the cognac with. She like, yeah, Courvoisier with milk. I make this drink her. I said, Madame, we have a problem. We must call Niefeld, but 11 people flew away. They stay in Canada, no more in the hotel. And I call Niefeld and tell him, but I said, Madame said, will nothing tell. We will need a hall, we were supposed to be after the travel, 2 days off. For 2 days, a big hall. And we make new arrangement, choreography. We make it. And you don't tell nobody. And because this was Christmas time, was the information not so quick going through radio and TV, you know? And it was so that we make the first performance. We rehearse a lot, but before performance to Madame came Washington Post journalist to make interview. She didn't mention nothing. No, we make the performance, but in the night, in the news came that 11 people is in Canada. In the morning, he came and he wants to speak, very nervous with Madame. I said, no, she's sleeping. Till 2 o'clock, she's not from room. You can go. I must. No, I'm sorry. Niefeld came from New York. Also, I said, sorry, sir. We have performance tonight, and she must rest. Then later she make correction on the stage. You can have interview between the correction and performance. I was so angry. Then he came to the wardrobe and said, how you can do something, play before me, and not tell one word about what happened. I said, I am drama artist. I play. It was my play. I didn't play anymore on the stage, but it was wonderful play for you. Also. And we perform. We have the last performances, everything went good. We came back. Then we must write big papers. Why I don't keep air of the people? I said, I have 126 people. How I can do it? I didn't know this. And so, this was life.
So, you came to the United States what year?
Then it was so. My husband got very sick, 84, and he lost vision in one eye. We sent the papers to the kids here. They went to Wills Eyes with this, and they said, we can save the second because it was stroke in the eye, but he must be here. And they, they have no insurance, nothing, but they say, I said, you have no money. Mama, I have one father, we must take. They make because it was so. He never got the passport to go to the kids and when came this, we make a passport for him. The embassy give quick visa, and he flew from Warsaw here. They bring him straight to Wills Eyes, and they find out that this is the aorta here is everything close, and then they make surgery in Bryn Mawr Hospital because they bring him first to Bryn Mawr Hospital. I don't know where or not. Anyhow, this was beginning here also. The surgery on the, on the vein, the main vein. Dr. Matthew made this, and it was good. This was his young doctor, 74 surgery, but he made this very well. And Wills Eyes take care of his eye. They never can give him back the one, but the other, they save the another way. But he need medication and everything here. Was nothing in Poland. Also the whole care. Susan make for him insurance, They both was work hard very much, and they paid the insurance, and they save him, and they decide that he must stop working. He must stay here, and have this whole medications and doctors help here. And so he stay here, and I stay there, working. Saving what is possible, sending here to them. This was time when you work in the state agency, you get money for, this is each day money for food. And the beginning was 11 Deutschmark 59 cents, but it went to 30 later. Deutschmark. But in any case, and I was working, and we live apart. And when I came later on the next tour with Niefeld, 1983, he already gave me some money, and I left the money here. And then I went 1985 on tour. Every 2 years it was. He paid me some money, and so I have some saving to help them. This was. Also, he make insurance for me, Niefeld here, and the Social Security, that I have paychecks, regular money, paychecks for my work. Yeah.
And you stayed here permanently, what year?
Yes, and he told me to stay, Barbara, stop working for the government, Polish government. Work with me, for me. You are so good organizer. I will give you work. And that's why I decide that I will stop there and come here. And I have bad luck. 2 months before I came, he get heart attack and pass away. Yeah. But Columbia Artists was nice to me. They give me some help, and they told me when I can do it, they will give me a ballet company, which never was in Europe, that I promoted them in Europe. And they give me Hubbard Dance String Company. I don't know if you know this company, very good company from Chicago. And I make promotion, prepare it about 1.5 years, and help from people, from theater directors which work with me, like Klaus Wagner. He gave me place for my agency, and he took from me 12 performances. And so I start my business, and I make first money. They also give me money that I have for covering fly and this and this. And I was, Hubbard Street Dance Company was my company from US for 7 years. Then later they changed agency because they want much more money, and my theater cannot pay this, no. But this time I get also a contact with Toronto Dance Company, and I took them to Europe, to Germany, especially Poland. First trip was Poland, Germany, Austria, Poland, Germany, Switzerland, Poland, Germany, in Denmark. All time a little bit more. And in middle time, I begin to work also with Boris Eifman Ballet from St. Petersburg. He was just one time in Paris in Russian days, so he was never on tour. And they I invite people from Germany to see it, directors of theater, and they perform in Warsaw, Master and Margarita, Buchakov, and they buy it from me for the next season, and I bring them for 22 performances. And, you know, it was opening, Gorbachev already was, everything was more easy, and then we make productions for my, then he make Red Giselle, I bring the Red Giselle, then he start to work with Ardani artists in New York, this Danilian, the Russian guy, and he's Armenian guy, but Russian spy. And he works through him, makes in New York City, make seasons, and he make a world, you know, all over the world. And I work with him in Germany, Swiss, in Österreich, Austria, and Denmark, till 2014 was my last tour. Just little, 2014 was a little tour, just Poland in Swiss, because I was already very old. Yeah. So, then I also was bringing, how I told you, the opera performances to the houses which has stage ready from Lodz. We produce for them Nabucco, we produce Don Carlos, we produce with Militarny Petersburg Dampik. We brought Boris Godunov from Mali, operny, mały operny, to Maryński tepier. Also, I was on tour, my husband was here, and I was on tour abroad about 200 days a year. And then I came here, and from here, producing there, preparing. My husband got very sick 2010. Then I slow down a little, very slow down. Then I make just very fun, and so slower, until I was 84 when my husband passed away 14 September. But I must go on tour in October and make still the last performance. And finito.
Your husband's name was?
I was 84.
Your husband's name was?
Tadeusz. Tat Śliwiński. I was 1 year, was very hard. He passed away here, under the clock, 5 o'clock. He passed away here. I take all possible help, 24 hours for him. I make here a hospital room. But I promise him, and he passed away. So, and now I am a dependent lady. Never was thinking that I would be so dependent about what I can do. My muscle is my muscle, Jewish gesagt. But I remember always fight. Also when I was very sick, because I get very sick last April, before I was driving, doing everything. When I was very sick, I said, fight. When you cannot give me that, then fight. And I was a fighter. I go through, the broke. I break my hip, then I have sepsis, then I have cancer, everything. And still, it's not easy. It's not easy, really. I try to fill up my day with reading, watching. I have no time before for watching TV shows. I am watching TV shows. And I am happy to see because I have 2 sons. I have grandchildren, 2 and 3, 5 grandchildren, and I have 8 great-grandchildren, great-grandchildren. What do you want?
How did your experience in your childhood shape who you are, how you lived your life? How did your war experience in the war
What?
shape your life, how you live your life?
Shape my as fighter. Fight for everything. I fight for life, I fight for another people, I fight for work, because I was also, when I was in Poland, till end, I must fight, show that I am good, that they can believe that I am good, that I bring them good money, allowed me to work, because I need work always, you know. And later, when I was by myself, also, when I finished my first booking, you know, then I was left for a few days with few mark, because I would like also to say this, that I bring, because the Polish government, all socialist government, after 6-day war, they break the relation to Israel. And later, they try to open the relation to Israel about 84. First, trade relation. And I try to open the culture relation. And I know when I have friends already there, a lot of friends, when I try something, when they cannot say no, that they must take this as a company, then I went to Israel, because I was going whole time illegal to Israel. I have no passport. I was going a few 2-3 years for 10 days, 20 days with a visa on a paper, no in passport. Nobody knows it. And then I came back from Ireland. I said I met in Rome, because I was going through Rome, because my niece was working in the security airport in Rome, and her husband was studying medicine in Rome. I said I was from Rome. I met Zubin Mehta, and he loves to come here. Look, here is a letter from him. And he is ready to come with the Philharmonic to Poland for 3 concerts. And he is ready. You pay just hotel, and for food. And they fly with your money, and buses. Hotel, buses, transfer from hotel, and food. And everything else is covered. First was shouting in the mystery with what she make. The Barbara is Michigan. What she makes, she's not allowed to speak to such people. I said, when I met him, I cannot tell him, Poland not allowed to speak to you. I speak to him. He likes to come here. Let them come. No, we have no relation. I said, you already have trade relation. You can make a contract through the trade relation, and they can come. In any case, Zubin Mehta came first to Israel in April 1986 with the orchestra. They perform in the Opera House. They play so that everybody was crying in the end. After this, we went by foot from Opera House to movie theater Femina, was in ghetto. In the ghetto was a Femina theater with Jewish orchestra. The all best musician when cannot play here in the Polish orchestra went and make orchestra there. Then they pass away in Auschwitz. We went by foot, everybody, to Femina. We sit down, and Zubin Mehta speak about this everything, and then the soloist Zuckerman, Perlman play for the memoriam, then quarters per memorials. You know, with us came also Bernstein, Leonard Bernstein. And next day, we went with buses to Auschwitz, and the orchestra played under Bernstein Kaddish in Auschwitz-Birkenau. We came back, we give again a concert, and they fly back. This was, and for this, Israel took a Kammer opera mannequin from Bruno Schulz, 20 performances. We play is in Carmeli Theater, they pay for everything, in Mazowsze company, my Mazowsze. And we came with Mazowsze there, we perform in Man Music Hall in Tel Aviv. We perform in Haifa Theater, and we perform in Yerushalayim. Then we perform one performance in Sultanpul in Yerushalayim. And after, when we have the first performance in Tel Aviv, after this, I was invited to Shimon Peres, who was Premier Minister at that time, and I get honor citizenship of Israel. That I am honored citizenship of Israel. I have all, yes. And later, 87, I make from the city normal aliyah. I have to touch the wood. I have everything, and till now, this is enough. You know, I follow my dreams. I just follow, and I was strong. I am not strong, but I was really strong. My kid can tell I was always very strong. It's no problem go, you know, from Haifa to Tel Aviv to Palm Beach Hotel, because after, when I was already, I have money for this, I made 1995 bat mitzvah for my first granddaughter in Tel Aviv. Following my dreams. First time, I can invite all my family from kibbutzim all over, and we make a big dinner after bat mitzvah, a big for 125 people. My cousins help me, everybody helps me. And it was something. So when my Jewish guy together with everything.
Thank you for sharing that and your story.
Maybe too lot, maybe too stupid, but because my language is terrible. But I try what I can.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
And we are rolling whenever you're ready.
Barbara, and who is this?
My son, Jerzy.
Yes, so, well, we are very happy that my mom had
This
this
is my
opportunity.
savior. He's everything for me.
Really? Okay. We are very happy that my mom had this opportunity to do this interview. We were, I think, it would be important to grandchildren to listen to it. You know, we had some of the stories before, and I'm pretty happy that somebody else is going to hear them. So, and yeah, she is a tough lady. She went through a lot, and she kind of pulled through. So it took a lot of I don't know, strong character, strong will, perseverance, luck, and strong family connections, and sort of just sometimes just being at the right place at the right time, and avoiding the places you're not supposed, but just luck. And we are happy to have him.
Barbara, what would you like to wish to future generations?
There will be no war. Peace, and we need peace. We need peace in Israel. We must save Israel, but we need peace in Israel. And I just wish that my kids have no war, because war is, it's just struggle, and they took for you that you are human being. Terrible. And I am afraid about my kids, because, the world is in bad shape.
Barbara, what would you like to wish to future generations?
No war, please, no war. The world must fight for peace, because war is terrible. I know what is war. And after, when the war was finished, my generation, believe there will be no more such wars. But now what happens in Israel and all over the world is very, very bad. And you must know, I have my nephew's kids in the army. Few boys, 3 girls are now in the army fighting. And the world must do something for us, that we have Israel. It's very important. I don't know what, but must something happen. The whole world must think about how to make peace in the world.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is my father, Berek Leib Horowitz. I have just few pictures from Israel. They have been by my cousins. My father, Baruch Leib Horowitz. This is my mother, Dvoira Horowitz, my oldest sister Miriam, and second sister Esther.
Which one is your sister?
One time more.
The smaller child or the big? In the photo?
My mother, my sister standing, my sister Miriam, sitting, my sister Esther.
Okay.
This is me when I was 20. I look like my mother. This is my wedding picture, and I have just 4 tulips because we have not enough money for more.
What year?
4 tulips.
What year?
What, 1955, March 19. Later, my husband bought me always a lot of white tulips on the anniversary. But here we have money just for 4. This is me with my brother Moshe on the Jewish wedding in Skokie, Jurek with Susan. Jerzy and Susan.
And when was this?
This was 1980 September. This is my brother Moshe Horowitz. Pictures is about 1956. This is my sister Esther with husband Yosef. This sister saved my life. We went together from ghetto, and she later helped me with everything. This is Tel Aviv, 1968.
And who's this with her?
They immigrate to
Who is with her? Who is
The gentleman?
who is the man?
Yosef.
Husband.
Yosef.